हेलो व्यूअर्स, तो आज हम लोग कर रहे हैं चैप्टर 6, रीजनल डिस्कंटेंट एंड इट्स सॉल्यूशन। फर्स्ट, ए बेसिक ऑफ रीजनलिज्म, local patriotism and loyalty to loyalty or a region or state and its language and culture didn't constitute regionalism, nor are they disrupted of the national unity. They are quite consistent with the national patriotism and loyalty to the nation. Once pride is her or her region doesn't constitute regionalism, the Indian national movement to functioned on this understanding, aspiring to or making a special effort to develop one's state to remove poverty, implementation. Social justice is not branded as a regionalism. However, if any state asserting its pride and interest above the national interest and against the national in a hostile manner, then it can be doubled as a doubted, sorry, and double dubbed as regionalism. American scholar and journalist Saling Harrison, in his book India, The Most Dangerous Decade, wrote that three would be threat to be Indian unity because of the conflict between the national and the state government, but the contrary to the apprehensive, India quite well managed to the accommodated and even celebrate India's cultural diversity, the linguistic records of India, and the resolution of the official language controversy have played a very important role by the eliminating a patent cause of the feeling of the cultural loss or the cultural domination. Despite such great amount of army like on sharing of the river water between the Tamil Nadu and Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh etc. Economic imbalance and the regionalism. Economic inequality among different state and region could be a potential source of the trouble. Hence, from the beginning, the national government felt a responsibility to the country, to counter the imbalance in regional development, to influence the rate of the growth in the poorer state and the regions, to reduce economic distance from richer state. The central government adopted a whole range of policies. A major instrument is the government hand in the bringing development to the poorer state was the transfer of the financial resources, which were done by the Financial Commission, a constitutional body. Planning was also used as a powerful instrument to remove regional inequality. Planning Commission allocated greater plan assistance to the backward state. The assistance was given in both the form grant and loans, public investment by the central government in the major industries such as steel, fertilizers, oil refineries, petrochemical, heavy chemical, and in power and irrigation project has been a tool for the reduction or regional inequality. Government initiatives have been provided to the private sector to interest in backward areas through subsidies, tax concessions, concessional bank, and the institutional loans at subsidized rates. In spite of above mentioned initiatives and programs, the backward state have a lower level of infrastructure facilities such as power, irrigation, road, telephones, and the modern markets for agriculture produce. Political and administrative failures also blasters backwardness. Sons of the soil the doctrine mentioned that particular state belong to the majority linguistic group inhabiting it constitute or an executive exclusive homeland for the region language speakers. The doctrine is major popular in cities in the struggle for the appropriation of the economic resources and economic opportunities. Recourse was often taken to communism casteism and nepotism. In a similar way, language loyalty and regionalism was and is still used to systematic excluded the outsiders. The doctrine was profound, utilized in a big metros like Mumbai, Marathi, earlier Mumbai, Bangalore, Karnataka, Bangalore, Kannada, Kolkata, Bengali, etc. The Mulki rule provided in Article 371D of the Indian Constitution safeguard the right of the local people in employment and education and was created agitation in the state of Andhra Pradesh. This is an example of sons of soil and doctrine, but this was provided only Group C and Group D services. Son of the soil and doctrine arise when there is a actual or the potential competition for the industries and the middle class jobs between the mitigant and the local educated mobile class youth. The worst case of the anti-migration migrant or implementation of the sons of the soil doctrine was a movement led by the Shiv Sena which appealed regional Chavism and assume fascist proportion. However, the court approved the reservation on the ground of the residents, but maintained people's right mitigation and their allied fundamental right regarding their movement. B. Issue of the Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab. Issue of Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir comprises three social and the political regions, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Kashmir Valley is the heart of the region. Jammu and region is a mix of the foothill and plain area of the Hindus, Muslims, Sikh, and speakers of various languages. Ladakh region is a mountainous, a very little population, which is equally divided between the Buddhist and Muslims. The Kashmir state isn't just a dispute between India and Pakistan. It is a both external and internal dimensions. It involves the issue of the Kashmir identity, Kashmiriyat, and the aspiration of the people of Jammu and Kashmir political autonomy. Root cause of the problem. Before 1947, Jammu Kashmir was a princely state. Jammu Kashmir was a princely state as specified by British that prince were free to join any either country or to remain independent. The prince wanted to remain independent while the popular movement in the state, led by the Sheikh Abdul of the National Conference, wanted to get rid of Maharaj Hari Singh, and at the same time did wish to join Pakistan. Later, after partition, Pakistan is still designs on the Jammu and Kashmir to annex it forcefully. It sent a tribal infiltration from its side to capture Kashmir. The Maharaja pleaded to help, and India helped to drive out infiltration. Only when the Maharaja signed instrumental of accession to India. At the same time, it was also agreed that once the situation get normalized, the view of the people of the Jammu and Kashmir will ascertained about their future. Their tribal infiltration had captured one part of the state which came under the Pakistan control. India maintained this is as illegal, and since then Kashmir has remained a major issue of conflict between India and Pakistan. Internally, and there is a dispute which is still persists and couldn't be resolved. This was related to Jammu and Kashmir specific status because of Article 317 of the Constitution, which gives greater autonomy to it as compared to other sites in the country. All provisions of India constitution are not applicable to the state law passed by the parliament applied to the Jammu and Kashmir only if the state agrees. Jammu and Kashmir has its own constitution too. There is a there is a section of the people and the parties outside Jammu and Kashmir that believe that the special status of the state doesn't allow full integration of the state does with the India. Hence, it should be revoked. It should be revoked. The people reside in Jammu Kashmir. Mostly Kashmiri don't believe that autonomy confined by the Article 317 is enough. Each section of Kashmir has expressed at least major grievance that the promise of the plebiscite hasn't been fulfilled. Autonomy given by the Article 317 has been adopted in the practice, and this lead to the clamor for the greater state autonomy. Democracy, which is practiced in the rest of India, hasn't been institutionalized in Jammu Kashmir by 1989. Jammu Kashmir state has become enough grip of the militant movement mobilized around the cause of the separate Kashmir region. The insurgent get moral, material, and military support from the Pakistan. Separatist politics has been taken different form and made up the various strand. Successive government at the central from the time to time have the made attempt to engage various separatist group in the negotiation. Second, Punjab issue, the the composition of the state changes first with the partition and the later or the creation of the Haryana and Himachal Pradesh in 1966. Much before the independence in 1920, the Akali Dal was formed as a political wing of the Sikh, which lead the movement for the formation of a Punjab Suba. After the partition, Sikh was the only now a majority in the truncated state of the Punjab. Hence, fulfilled this demand during the 1970s. A section of the Akalis began to demand the political autonomy autonomy for this region. They passed a resolution in the regard of the Anandpur Sahib Conference in 1973. This resolution asserted regional autonomy and wanted to redefine the center-state relationship in the country. They decided their goals of attaining Bolwala dominance of the hegemony of the Sikhs. However, this did not mean separate from the India. The more extreme element started advocating secession from the Indian demanded Khalistan. The leader of Akali-Dal was transferred from the moderate to militant element. Parallel to the Akali militants, terrorism made its appearance in Punjab 1981 as a partition culmination of the communal politics since 1947. These temples took path of armed insurgency to get armed for fortress. In June 1984, the government of India carried out the Operation Blue Star, an army action to flush out the militant. It was successful, achieved by the Indian Army personnel. Meanwhile, during the action, the holy place got damaged and the people's settlement got hurt, and this gave impetus to militant and extreme groups. Later, the bodyguard of the PM Indira Gandhi sought her at Avenue of the Failing of the Sikhs, which were followed by the brutal and anti-Sikh riots. Road to Peace. In August 1985, the newly elected PM of the India, Rajiv Gandhi, signed an agreement with the Harichand Singh Longwal, the president of Akali Dal, which was known as Rajiv Gandhi's Longowala Accord to the Punjab Accord. This was a positive step towards the bringing normal to Punjab. Basic feature of Accord: transfer of the Chandigarh to Punjab, sharing of water through the tribunal between Rajasthan and Punjab, Haryana, comparison of those who suffered from the militancy, revocation of the AFSP from Punjab. This accord didn't facilitate peace immediately. Militancy and counter-insurgency violence continued, which lead to the human right violation. Fragmentation of Akali Dal also started. Normal political process was suspended, and the president rule was imposed gradually. The military was eradicated by the security forces. Peace returned to Punjab by the middle of the 1990s. The alliances of BJP, Shiromani Akali Dal emerged as a victorious and brought back the democratic process in the state. The problems with the East India region. The regional aspiration of the Northeast region become more focal and the prominent in the 1980s. This region has set a lot of the changes since 1947. A princely state like Manipur, Tripura, Khashi hills of Meghalaya had merged with the Indian post-independence. The whole northeast region has witnessed altogether different political reorganization. Earlier, this partition of the India turned the northeast region into the landlocked region and affected it economically due to the isolation from the mainstream India. The region remained backward in terms of the development parameter. Nagaland state was created in 1916, the Meghalaya, Manipur, and the Tripura in 1972. The Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram become separate state in 1987. The isolation of the region it complicated social character due to the different ethnic, tribal, and their culture lack of the development, weak communication between the northeast region and the rest India feuded the anger of an end is called the relationship center, and this region which lead varied demand of the people inhabiting in this region due to the delicate relationship people aspired for their autonomy sectionalist movement and strike a position to outsider from the entering into the region. Meanwhile, following the large-scale reorganization of the region in 1972, a regional body, the North Eastern Council (NEC), was set up to provide a forum for interstate coordination, regional planning, and integrated development of the region to avoid the intra-regional disparity. However, this NEC could not control their feeling for autonomy and violent success. Secessionist movement for the cause. Now we discuss the different demand emanating from the different part of Northeast India region. Demand for autonomy. First, after the independence, except Manipur and Tripura, entire Northeast India region comprises the state of Assam due to the presence of different culture and tribes. Non-Assamese field alienated with the Assamese and Bengali resident of the plains. In addition to this, uh, 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 the Assam government imposed Assamese language on them. This non-Assamese people protested against the move violently. Tribal leaders start demanding separate from the Assam to consolidate their voice for the separate. The tribal leaders formed the Eastern Indian Tribal Union, which later transformed into a comprehensive all-party Hill Leader Conference in 1916. Their demand were the fulfilled later, and several states were carved out of one Assam. Fulfill of these demands couldn't stop aspiration of the separate state among some tribal wardates, Karbi and Dimasis. They grew center attention toward their demand of the autonomy. They mobilized public opinion through the popular movement and insurgency. It was not possible center for the center to fulfill the all regional aspiration and create a smaller and smaller state. So center devised some other alternative to fix their demands, such as a grant of autonomous district for such tribes. Second, seasonal movement. The demand for autonomy can be fulfilled with the constitution provision, but the demand for the separatist complicated to deal with. This has been true in the case of the Northeast region as well as can be seen from the following cases. Mizoram, the Mizo people never considered themselves as a part of the British Union, so they refused to consider themselves as an Indian. After India's independence later in 1959, during the famine in Assam, the Mizos felt neglected by the government. Famines relief for discontent among the section of the Mizo people led by the formation of the Mizo National Front under the leadership of Lal Dinga in 1961. The MNF begins an armed campaign against the Indian Army through the guerrilla warfare, and they are aided by the Pakistan government and received shelter in East Pakistan. Pakistan, which was aiding all such seasonalist movement in India to destabilize India through different means. The Union government used armed and the air forces to quell the MNF uprising. After realizing the futility of the war, Lal Linga started negotiation with the Indian government. In 1986, Rajiv Gandhi, then the PM, and the Lal Gunda reached for the agreement known as the Mizo Accord. In accordance with this agreement, Mizoram was granted a full-fledged statehood with a special power, and the MNF gave up the secessionist movement. Now the state is recognized as having done in the commendable job in implementation of development programs and making agriculture remunerative. Second, Nagaland resides in the Naga Hill on the consisting of the many separate tribals speaking different languages. The British had left the Nagas in the relative isolation, and due to the missionaries activities permitted by them, there has been emerged an educated section become the flag which become flag barrier of the separate Naga identity and demand for the separate and complete independence from India. Led by the Agami Japru Piju belong to the Naga National Council NCC and NNC. The Nagas articulated their demand for the freedom and separate from India immediately after the end of British rule. Following the referendum held by the NNC in 1951, Fizo formed the underground Naga Federal Government (NFG) and the Naga Federal Army (NFA) in the March 1956, thus beginning as an armed circulation against the Indian government. The government of India sent an army to crush the insurgents in 1958, enacted the Armed Forces Special Power Act. The government also tried to quell such movement, was limited successes by the bringing many Nagas areas within the autonomous framework in 1957, formation of the state of the Nagaland in 1963. A section of NNC leaders to signed the Shillong Accord with the government of India on 11 November 1975, under the which section NNC and NFG agreed to give up the rise. A group of 140 members led by the Twinglang Muewa, who were at the time in the China, refused to accept the Shillong Accord and formed the National Socialist Council of Nagaland (NSC). And in 1980s, Muewa also have Ishak Chisi Su and SS Kalplang with him. In 1988, the NSCN split into NSCNIM and NSCMK after a violent clashes, while the NNC began to fade away and the Pizzo died in London in 1991. The NSCNIM uh, came they acquire greater significance. The main aim to the of the NSCN and it virus in Carnations has been established a sovereign state Nagalism by unifying all the area inhabited by the Naga people in the northern, eastern, and the Burma. However, the ceasefire between the Union government and the NSCN and later NSCMNK reduces violence in Nagaland area. Significant round of negotiation negotiation between the NSCN leadership and the government of the India. A framework agreement was signed in 2015. However, in as NSCN breaking the ceasefire and engaging in violence as well as the neighboring states such as Assam, Manipur, and the Arunachal remaining apprehensive. The Naga issued awaited a final resolution. Third movement against the outsiders, the mitigation and the migration of the people from the outside part of the country or of the northeast region has created lot of the problem and increased the tension. Local and outsiders, the mitigation people was seen as encroachers who would snatch away their scarce resources like land, employment opportunities, and political power, and the render the and local population without their legitimate due to drive away the outsider from the region was the main aim. The Assamese movement from the 1975 to 1985. The main target were the Bengali Muslim settlers from the Bangladesh in 1979. The All Assamese Student Union AASU's a student group not related to any political parties led by the anti-foreigners movement. Their area of focus was illegal migration, domination of the Bengali and other outsiders against the faulty voters registration of the Ladakh of the immigrant. AASU's members used both non-violent and the violent method. Their violent agitation took a human lives and damaged a lot of the properties. After 6 years of the violent turmoil, and then the PM Rajiv Gandhi negotiated with the AASU leaders, both the side Union government and the AASU signed the Assam's Accord in 1985. According this accord, the foreigners who migrate into Assam during and after Bangladesh war were to be identified and deported. With the success of signing the accord, the AASUs and the Assamese Ganga Sangam Parishad came together, formed their political parties. Assam Ghana Parishad won the assembly election in 1985. The promise of resolving the foreigners' nation problems and make Assam a golden Assam. However, the problem of the immigration hasn't been resolved yet, but it brought peace and some of extent the comfort, accommodation of the regional aspiration and national integration. And as observed from the discussion of the movement involving in demand of the autonomy and the succession described the above, it evident that the regional aspiration and the a part of the democratic politics expression of such aspiration can be founded across the global in UK. In UK, there are regional aspiration in the Scotland, Wales, and the Northern Ireland. Spain faces such as issue in the West and the Sri Lanka and northern provenance of the country significant. It can be argued that the suppression of the regional aspiration is not the best way out rather deliberated consulting culturation and negotiation solution within the democratic norms and is always possible. And our chapter 6 is completed now.